in defense of Campbell, who was criticized for being male, for being 19th century, for being chauvinistic, and all these things, and some of them are, in a sense, true. He was conscious always of the goddesses and of particular stories in the most ancient of the stories that we have, like the story of the goddess Inanna. And one of the things, I just want to toss this to you, Douglas, was that part of one of those stories is that she is ritually stripped. The demons come and tear away her clothes layer by layer by layer and put her back together again then. And it seems like a wonderful metaphor to me of how someone does need to divest themselves of their self-assumptions and then kind of rebuild or reclothe themselves. So what do you say to that?
Interesting. My first thought was, you said it was demons. Do they do it with malicious intent?
Yeah, I think they're tormenting her. I don't remember the details that well, but this is the takeaway impression was that it was part of an ordeal that she had to pass through in her special world, in the ordeal in the cave deep in the labyrinth, or on her way to her goal.
Well, there's two things that come to mind. One is the end result of the heroine's arc, and that is the rearrangement, which is the Act 3, what I've labeled as Act 3, which is that the labyrinth is rearranged in a certain way, where society is changed. So there is a renewal factor in the rearrangement. And it also made me think initially of the poisoned apple, in which the heroine is her abilities, her intellectual powers. It's all if she's a warrior, her ability, it's all bypassed in this way. And the poison apple usually follows the images of an unconscious heroine, restrained with a menacing figure, usually the masked minotaur, hovering over her. And the idea is that you are bypassing the heroine's, consent. This is against her will. You're bypassing that, and it's symbolically destructive of the willpower. But the heroine survives this and is not converted or captured in the end. So the poisoned apple is a weapon, I view it as, delivered to the heroine in bad faith, but the heroine survives this and then re-engages in Act 3. So there are some parallels there. That's very interesting. And I like it because I love stories of renewal. I think they're vital. They're important to people. They need to know they can come back. They need to know that they're still in the fight,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big point here overall. This is that the stories, not unlike fairy tales, give us some reassurance that somebody else has been through something difficult, just as you are going through now. And sometimes they're destroyed by it tragically. Look out for that. Don't make the mistakes they make. But some of them get through and are transformed and reach this higher consciousness, or are able to rebuild their world and themselves. So I think that's a high value in these things, especially today, when the stories are made for times like this. There have always been times like this, but we're in a little bit of an extreme condition here, and so we need these things all the more.
Well, and I totally agree. In fact, I would even say that one of the lessons of the heroine's labyrinth is, you asked about the demons that tore her. The demons aren't changeable. They sound like the unchangeable factor there that the heroine will be dealing with. And in a lot of stories, the masked minotaur archetype is the unchangeable being. And I found this to be completely fascinating, that the beast as ally archetype in stories is almost a mirror image of the minotaur. They're both kind of bestial characters, half man, half human. And the minotaur has the animal side that wins out, the animal tyrant, whereas the beast as ally, his humanity is what wins out in the end. But the reason I think this is important is because it teaches the heroine, or any of us, that there are the unchangeable beings, the people you cannot reason with, the ones that will always be there, versus the one that you can have a relationship with, professionally or whatever. somebody who is working with you, who recognizes your humanity, and is. So I think that that's an important distinction for a heroine to learn that lesson, and for us to learn that lesson, that there are these two types of people. Not everyone is going to be reformed, or not everyone is going to be saved, and it's not your job to save everybody, in life.
Yeah, I think that is a sort of built-in assumption that we carry a lot of times. The idea that, well, if I just talk the right way, or if I exhibit the right behavior, or hit the right buttons, I can get the behavior out of an opponent or an antagonist the way I want. Sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't, and you are only hurting yourself if you try to go up against them directly.
And it's important to recognize the difference. I think that was the key. That the heroine learns to recognize the difference, and that's vital. That's a vital human lesson.